Alright guys, so this is going to be part 3 of my eyeshadow collection, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, turn on your post notifications if you guys want to stay updated with everything that I post, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's get right into the eyeshadow palette collection. So, as you guys can see, a variety of things. You guys just saw my second part and I had many different variety of brands. This is going to be the same thing. Some things are new, some things are old, but I really like everything that I have in my collection. That's the moment. This won't be like a declutter or anything. I might talk about palettes I might declutter, but I'm not decluttering anything. If you guys do want to see what I declutter, I should have that video up in the near future. What I have left, because a lot of the things I already put on my offer up and I did sell. But yeah, let's go ahead and get in. So this is the first palette that I have here. And this is the Alien palette from Jeffree Cosmetics. You slide it over and you can open it up. I think that's what he said you can do, but you can literally just open it up like that. This is a palette so many people were really sad about when they heard that it was being discontinued. This does have a really unique color story. However, I will say that I like other palettes that he's released more than this one. But it's still really nice. I was intrigued to get this palette because I love lime greens and I love this shade right here, Flying Saucer, and I'm a really big fan of purples. So yeah, I'm really glad to have this palette. It's just a little bit hard to store, but it's nonetheless really beautiful and really cool. Next we have the Glam Cake palette. This one actually was set to release February 14th or 15th or something like that, so I thought it was a perfect opportunity to get this because it was near my birthday. So this is the beauty of this cake palette. Right now I think they're having a 30% off sale. I'm not sure if that's going to continue on as I'm filming this video, but this is one of my favorite color stories that Glam has released. I love this palette. It's so pretty, and every single time I look at it, I'm like, I want to use this palette for the rest of my life. It's so nice. I just love it, and it's cake. Like, who doesn't love cake, right? Next we have Sample Beauty, and this is the Tectonic palette. I don't know if you guys can see the writing, but this is what it looks like. And then you open it up, and this is the shades. I do have a video up on my channel using this palette. I actually do 2 looks. So I use some greens and I use a little bit of warm tones. This palette is very powdery. I know that someone did comment that whenever I did my review. However, I still really like it, and I feel with a good base you can make the shadows work. Not like you have to buy this palette to make the shadows work, like you have to put a lot of work into it. But I know some people don't like really powdery or almost like a dry formula, so that's not your cup of tea. I wouldn't recommend this palette. I'm not sure if it's still available due to the fact that they are discontinuing it, but I would definitely check out their website before it's too late if you are interested in picking it up. Next is the Morphe Pride palette. This one, I believe, I don't even think it was like a 30 or 20 or I don't know. I think it was like the 20A maybe, but I'm not really sure because it does have 5 shades and it actually has a total of 5 rows. So this would be 25. So yeah, this is the 25A, I believe that's what it was called, but it's really pretty. I missed the first launch and I had regretted it so much whenever I saw that it was sold out because I was like, I don't need it, it's just a colorful palette. But now that I have it, I'm really glad to have it. It reminds me a lot of the 35B, but I feel like this formula is a little bit better. I did have the 35B in my collection, and you guys will no longer see it because I did declutter it. I did declutter some of my Morphe palettes, but this one I definitely did want, so I decided to pick it up, and I feel like it replaced my 35B. Next is the Sample Beauty, the Equalizer palette. Now this type of packaging gets scratched up really quickly. I'm not sure what it is, but it's still really great. I really love this palette. This is brand new. Well, actually, this is new to their line, but this is like their most recent launch. So this palette was supposed to be all matte and then all shimmer. And then here in the middle, we have matte shimmer, and matte shimmer. So they have corresponding mattes and shimmers. As you guys can see, this is a blue. Then we have another blue over here. And then like that. They're just supposed to be matching a shimmer to a matte, which I really like. That's why it's called the Equalizer palette. I really like Sample Beauty's formula. It's a little bit more dry, but it still has pigment, which is what I love. I can work with a dry, a really creamy, a really powdery formula. So long the pigment is there, I don't mind working with it. Alright, and next we have the Morphe X Jeffree Star palette. and this is the Artistry palette, I believe it's called. Yeah, the Artistry palette. So I really like the packaging. It's all pink. And then this is what these shades look like. I wasn't gonna pick up this palette, but it did go on sale, so I decided to pick it up. I have done a look with this palette. I did like a cut crease and a little bit of some smokiness on the outer corner. And I actually really did like how the shadows performed. I was scared because the reviews told me that it wasn't going to perform well. But when I actually went in with the base, it worked pretty well. So I'm really pleased with this palette. And it is on sale still currently. So if you guys want it, I would definitely recommend picking it up. Next we have the Jaclyn Hill palette, and this is one of the originals. I don't have the new formulated version, and my eyeshadow names are on the back versus on the palette. I don't think I'm gonna buy a new one. I'm pretty good with the one I have. It's not too used up. It's really nice, and I believe this one came out, I don't even know if it has like a batch number or anything, but this is what the shades look like. I'm not sure if it comes with a mirror now, but this one just has like the little quote on it. I really like the color story of the Jaclyn Hill palette. It's a really great palette. Everyone loves it for a good reason. It's such a good palette, and I really enjoy the formula of this one. So can't speak for the new formula. I'm sure it's just as great. It's just not vegan. This is the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette, and when this one I first saw the color story, I was all for it. Like, I've loved reds and hot pinks and purples. Like, warm tones are right up my alley. I did think that they were I think they duped this one with the It's All Good palette from ColourPop. So if you have that one, you might not need this one. But of course, it's just up to you. I did use this palette, and I really like the shades that I used, and I like the pigmentation, and I like the buildability of it. Everything was good in my eyes. So if you do want it, I highly recommend picking it up. And then I have the 35 Icy Fantasy palette, and I guess it's the names. Yeah, this one has like the little sheet on it. I usually never keep the sheet. I'm actually surprised it's in there. This is the pastel palette that Morphe released. I still have yet to use it. I know that it's not going to be super pigmented because they are pastels and they're more ashy and a little bit more chalky. That's just how pastels work. But it's still a really pretty palette. I like having pastels in my collection. So this is the 3503 Fierce by Nature. At first I wasn't really that interested in this palette, but the more I looked at it, the more I was intrigued, and I really like the looks that people were creating with it. It does have like these random greens in here, but they are still really nice, and I feel like they complement the hot pinks, the oranges, and the more smoky colors down here. I personally really like this palette, so I'm glad I got it. And then just one random pressed glitter. Okay, and then towards the bottom I have the Be Perfect Cosmetics Carnival XL Pro palette, and this is like the big mama. She did release one that was a little bit smaller, but this is the bigger version. So hopefully you guys can see it. I'm gonna have to move this back just because it's such a big palette. But yeah, this is what the palette looks like. I really love this palette. I've used it a couple times, and every single time that I use it, I just get really inspired, and I really love the color story. They do sell this one on Beauty Bay, and that's actually where I purchased it because it's a little bit cheaper than paying for the shipping on the Be Perfect Cosmetics website. Okay, and then we're gonna move on to, I guess we'll do these and then we'll move forward. So this is the Be Bella Pro Basic Browns palette. I can move you guys back a little bit. So this is the Basic Browns palette, and this is what this one looks like. I actually was going to declutter this palette, but I decided to keep it because the more I swatched it, the more I actually really liked it. And I just really like Be Bella's formula. They're really great. I love their brand. So yeah, I just decided to pick this one up, and I actually purchased these, if not from Be Bella, I think I purchased them from the what's that brand called where everyone was buying like really affordable makeup. I forgot what it's called, but everyone was buying like dupes of other palettes, and they actually carried Be Bella, so I picked it up there because the shipping, they never charge for shipping, so that was great. And this is the Basic Bows, and this one I really like. It has like the burgundies over here, and then we have like some green tones over there. Not exactly olives, they're all kind of shimmers, but I really do like the burgundies and just like the variety of shades that they have in here. They all swatch beautifully, like they're all really great quality. my camera sucks at focusing, but yeah, I really do like this palette as well. And then we have Maroon Mayhem. They have released 2 since they have released these palettes, but I've never picked them up just because I'm like, do I really need them? But who knows, I might end up buying them in the future. But for now, I really like the ones that I do have in my collection. So the Maroon Mayhem just has more berries, some burgundy tones, some peaky tones, but a lot of neutral browns with some pops of purple. And then my favorite one is the Slay It palette, and I just love this one. This one is the more colorful palette, but I really do like the blues in here, the pinks, and I've created several looks with this palette, and I definitely do love the way that my looks turn out every single time that I use it. Okay, and then we're moving on to some GLF Cosmetics. I really do like GLF Cosmetics. They're another indie brand that they always create super pretty palettes, and this is the Princesa Stickup palette, and this is the shades in here. I really love the shades in here. There's some colorful shades, some neutrals, some really pretty foil shades in here as well. Some mauve, some pinks, but this color story is like super pretty to me, and I really like the packaging. However, since the release of the Princesa Azteca, there has been the volume 2, and this is what this one looks like. So this one's a little bit more colorful. We do have like straight up neons here on the front, and then some blues, and then just like shimmers right here. This one doesn't have as many mattes as I'd prefer, but the mattes in here make it worth it to me, and I really do love the color story. Next, we're moving into some Lorac Cosmetics, and this is the Sweet Paradise. This is a bigger palette. I really like the shadows in here. They're really nice. They blend out really well. I think I have used this palette, but I never recorded the look because it came out awful. But that was just my fault because I was just going in with random colors. But I really do like this. I use TU Love. They just really look really great on the lids. I can't really swatch them because I feel like they're just a little bit hard in the pan, but when you actually put them on your lids, they're really nice. And then we have Unravel, which looks like this. This is like a really nice mauve-y neutral palette with some highlights in here. It's really pretty. And then we have Moira Meant to Be, and this is like, again, the mauve tones, but this one's a little bit more berry to me. And I actually really love the shades in this one. If anything, I feel like Unravel's probably my least favorite, but I still keep it just because it does have cooler tones. And then Discover Me is like the more red version of all of them. This one's definitely the more warm toned one, and I really like this one as well. We have 2 of these Storybook cosmetic palettes in here, and the first one is the Burn Book. I wanted this one for so long, and it took forever to restock, but it finally did. And when it did, I jumped on it just because I really like the shades in here, and I'm a big fan of the movie, so I just really wanted it. And then I got the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory one just because I really do like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I really like the color story of this one as well. Yeah, so this is what the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory palette looks like. It's really nice. It actually has like a Nesquik smell. If you've ever smelled like chocolate powder, it actually smells like that. So I really like the names of these as well, like Willy Wonka, Snozzberries, Charlie Bucket, Mike TV, Fizzy Lifting Drink. It's just really interesting. So this is the Bessie's palette. I just picked it up, and for the longest I wasn't going to pick it up, but then I kept looking at the shades and I saw some swatches, and it's a little incoherent, like the shades are all over the place, but I feel like they did that on purpose just to really show you how colorful it is and like the color variations, but you can also kind of just like map it out yourself. But when I saw the swatches, it kind of put it together for me, and I actually really liked how the palette looks, so I picked it up. Next, we're going to show some Profusion palettes. So this is the first one that I have. This is the Mirage palette. And I'm not a big fan of Profusion palettes. Like, I am a fan of their smaller ones, but as far as the big ones, I feel like they're hit or miss. So they do have a sleeve on here, which is something that I feel like is a little weird. So they do have a sleeve on them, which I feel like is a little annoying, but I mean, I don't really keep the sleeves of stuff, so I just kept it because I wasn't sure if I was going to keep this palette or not. But I did swatch the mattes in here and I feel like they're pretty good. I did get 2 more palettes from them, however I did return them back because I prefer this one. I prefer the formula of these. Like, this formula is just a little bit better. They're not as hard, and some other palettes do have hard pans, so that's why it's a little bit hit or miss for me. The other one that I do have in my collection is the Festival palette, and I know that it's a bit annoying to see the ring light, but they're really reflective. So, yeah, it's kind of hard not to show you. But this is the Festival palette. I've heard so many good things about this one, so I decided to pick it up. And it just has like these really pretty like bright tones in here. I'm really excited to try this one out. I haven't tried any of their bigger palettes, but the Festival and the Mirage look really great. I did pick up the Starlit and Love Struck for all of you guys that are probably wondering, and they weren't my vibe. I didn't really like the formula. This is the next palette. This is the Morphe 35H. So this one I believe went on sale recently. But this is what this one looks like. I at first really wasn't into this palette, but the more that I looked at it and the more that I played around, the more that I looked at it and some swatches, I actually really like the color story. I actually like how it's like pink here, blue here, and then like the neutrals in the middle. So really nice. And then we have the 35M, and this is actually one of my favorite Morphe palettes that they've ever released. I mean, I think I would probably pick this one, like color story wise. I just really like the olives and the warm tones in this one, and like the pops of purple. I just think that they did really good with picking the shades out. And then next we have the 35V palette. And this one's also really pretty. This one does have more warm tones and then like purples and stuff, but I still feel like the 35M is still to this day my favorite, especially with this packaging. So yeah, I really love the shades in here. I think that they're really pretty. This is the Morphe 3502 palette, and I really like it. I really just like the warm tones. It doesn't really look a lot like the 3503 to me, which is why I kept this one and the 3503 and got rid of the 350. And then we have the color Noir palette. This is the 35SB. And this one I know first glance looks a lot like the Jaclyn Hill palette, but I really wanted to keep it because I actually haven't tried it on my eyes. And I do like the tropic colors over here, like the magentas. It's not exactly a dupe of the Jaclyn Hill one, but I know a lot of people did say that they look similar. This is the Jaclyn Hill palette, and then this is the color Noir. So yes, they do have some similarities, especially like the bottom corner, but I feel like these are a little bit more vibrant. Color Noir doesn't really create a lot of stuff anymore. I haven't really seen them a lot on my timeline, although I still do follow them. But if you do like their color stories, they are really nice and really creamy shadows. So this is the Zodiac palette from BH Cosmetics. The Zodiac palettes are some of my favorite palettes that BH Cosmetics has released because I really like how they have the mattes, the highlight, and then the shimmers all around, and I really like Zodiac themed palettes. So this one I really do like. I love the first one. However, they have released this one for I think like Valentine's Day. This is the Love Signs, and I like this color story a lot more. I have seen swatches for the new one that came out, and I'm just waiting for it to go on sale because I'm actually really intrigued to try that one out. I do like this one and I like the original, but I definitely do want to try out the third one. Okay, and then we have some Glam light palettes, and this one I just recently got. I might already have a video, if not it should be coming, because I do want to film a look with this and do a review. So this is the Glam Light Street Choco palette, and I still keep it in its box because I really like boxes of them. But this is the Glam Light Street Choco, and when you open it up, she's super cute and super fun. So I really like the shades in here. I think that they're super freaking nice and super pretty. They do have some shades similar to the ones in the Choco palette, but very few to be like the mini version, like to go. If you do prefer this color story, you probably don't need the bigger one. But I feel like having them both, I really do like having them in my collection. So I'm super excited to try this one on my eyes because I love tacos and I love the Street Choco palettes. So this is the Glam Light Viva Taco palette, and I actually wasn't going to get this one, but the more I looked at it, the more I fell in love, and I'm so glad I have it in my collection now. It's just such a pretty palette. I can't believe I wasn't going to include it in my collection, because the more I look at it, the more I'm just like, I really could have had you sooner, and I was being stubborn. So yeah, I really love this palette. So good. And it does open like this. Like, this is how you open it, just like a regular little taco. Okay, and then we have a palette that I have decluttered. I have put it in my declutter pile, and then I brought it out, and then I decluttered it. So if you have this palette, let me know, or if you've ever seen it, because I feel like no one's ever really talked about this palette. But this is the second edition to the collab with Chloe Morello, Ciate London, Pretty Fun and Fearless Volume 2. So Pretty Fun and Fearless palette was a little bit more neutral. I have decluttered that one while I'm selling it currently on my OfferUp. If you guys want to check out my OfferUp or my Poshmark, I will have the links down below. But this is the Volume 2. The more I look at this palette, the more I'm like, you know what? I really could get rid of it. I really don't think it's that unique. But then I just look at it again, and I just really do like it. I just feel like I don't see palettes like this ever. And like, it was really good. Like, the shades, I have to try them out of my eyes. So I decided that I was going to actually try this out for like a week. And then if I don't like it, I will declutter it. But I can't just like let it go without knowing if the formula really sucked or not. So next we have some Makeup Geek, and these are their palettes that you can buy already made. This is the color one. This is the color matrix. I forgot what they're called, but this is the colorful one. They do have a more neutral one. So yes, the shades are very beautiful. And they're really unique. I know that these are so expensive. They're like $120, I think. But I just felt like they were super nice. I really like the shades. I feel like I could do a lot of looks with them. I really like Makeup Geek Cosmetics shadows. So that's why I made the investment, and I actually bought them. And I really like them. I've created a couple looks with these palettes, but I really do like the palettes. The only one I haven't tried, and this is the neutral one, I do have both of them, is the Neutral Matrix one. Again, I forgot the name. I probably shouldn't say the name. But this has a lot of good staples. If you guys see like little scratches and stuff like that, it just happens from me like putting them in the palette. But yeah, I really do like them. They're really pretty, and I really do think that Makeup Geek makes a really good formula. So I think that they're really nice. Okay, and then we have some palettes that I've also put in my declutter pile and then taken out. And this one is the Lorac Mega Pro 3. Although I do think that it's a really pretty palette, I don't find myself ever reaching for it. This is another palette I'm going to keep up in my shelves and just remind myself to use it from time to time. If I'm really not a big fan of it, I'll end up decluttering it. But for the moment, I just can't let it go. These palettes were $59. I did have the original, the first one, and the second one. I've decluttered them since because I just never reached for them, and I felt like I already got my good use, so I did sell them. But I just can't let go of my Mega Pro 3. I don't know what it is. And then the Mega 4, I've also almost decluttered it, but I finally just decided to keep it because I've never really seen shades like these. And I feel like Lorac just has a really nice formula. Like, I feel like they were really hyped up back then and no one really talks about them now. But this is just like the perfect pastel Easter palette, so I just decided to keep it. And I might end up just using them because I already have them in my collection, you know? So next is the Be Perfect Carnival palette, and this is what this one looks like. So yes, compared to the Big Mama, this one is a little bit more lame, but I still really like the shades in here. I think that it's really pretty. You have your neutrals, but a lot of pops of color and two really pretty highlighters. And then we have this Two Gems Couture. This is the glitter shots. This palette, I won it in a giveaway, and I'm not a big fan of glitters. You guys already know that. But the more that I looked at it, the more I was like, you know what, if I ever do need a glitter, like, it's already here. So that's why I keep it in my collection, because I don't use glitters very often, but if I ever do want to get really into it and just like get really like excited about it. I already have all the shimmer colors, all the glitter colors that I would need, so yeah. Next we have this Doe Colors Tropical palette. I actually bought this off Amazon. Well, I actually really like their brushes. I decided to get this because I wanted to compare it to the BH Cosmetics Take Me to Brazil palette. I'm still debating if I'll actually do that, but it does remind me a lot of the Take Me to Brazil. They're just really affordable, colorful palettes with a lot of rainbow shades, and I actually really like the shades in this one. So next is the BH Cosmetics and Daisy Marquez collab. So this is what her palette looks like. It has like a detachable mirror, and I really like the color story that she created. It's crazy because I actually saw the leaked video where they first accidentally leaked it, and I was just like, where'd you get that palette? But then she actually ended up releasing it like this was her palette. It was just the one that she was using at the time, and I love it. I remember that color story, and I think she absolutely killed it. Okay, so next we have the Licken Lash Beauty Flamingo Beach palette, and this is one of my favorite palettes of all time. Like, I've used this palette. I think it's great. They are a little bit expensive because they do ship outside of the US. I believe they're a UK or Australian brand, but they are really good quality, and I really love the pigmentation in them. And then of course I couldn't just get one palette. I had to get the Playful palette, and I love this one too. It's so freaking pretty. Every single time I look at them I just get super excited because they're really pretty palettes. Okay, so this was the Bombshell Lashes before it became Bombshell Cosmetica, and I will link the video that I have related to this particular brand and why I don't think you should buy from them, even if you can buy from them, because I believe they are no longer existent, but they scammed everyone basically. I will leave the whole story linked up in the cards above if you want to hear like the full story and stuff. But this is the Candelicious palette, and yeah, it's really pretty. I wish that they weren't terrible people and they would have just released the second one, but they ended up just being trashed. So it is a really pretty palette. I do really like the pigmentation. However, I don't think you can get this palette anymore, but I keep it in my collection because I love the shades. Then we have the Glitter Realm Summertime palette, and I actually really like this one. It does have like a clear plastic cover, which does feel a little bit cheap, but it's just nice to see the shades. This is just like a really big, you know, rainbow palette. It has a variety of shimmers. I know a lot of people don't really talk about this brand, but it is a really nice brand, and they do have really cool color stories, and I just like trying out indie brands. So this is the Shimmery palette, and this one I actually really liked it because, you know, it has like the mattes at the bottom, some neutrals, and then some shimmers right here. I just think their shimmers are so good. Like, they're just really foiled and really pigmented. Like, they might not look pretty like packaging wise. I know that it's not everyone's cup of tea, but they are really great shadows. And then last but not least, I have some smaller palettes. This is Makeup Monsters Cosmetics, but now known as menagerie.cosmetics. And this is their Dragon Child palette. I believe you can purchase this palette on its own, or you can also pick the singles out and make your own palette. I really love this palette. I think it's super pretty. I love the dragon and the girl, and I just really like them. I've always liked their brand. They're super cool. And since Menagerie has become a brand, this is their Farrell palette, and this is the color story inside of here. I haven't tried this particular palette out on my eyes, but I really do like the color story, and I definitely do need to do a video with this one because even till this day, like, it's such a pretty palette. It's one of my favorites. And then we have the Whalesong palette. So this is what this one looks like. I think this one was a pre-order whenever I did purchase it, but I just think it's gorgeous. I really like the blues, the greens, the shimmers in here. I just think it's a great palette. I actually think I got this one for like Black Friday. And then I picked up the Menagerie Killer Purr palette as well on that sale. And yeah, she's super pretty. I wasn't gonna get it because I thought it was just a bunch of more neutrals with like a pop of teal, but the more I looked at it, the more it was on my wish list, and I'm so glad I have it in my collection. That is it for this video. I did decide to just take out the color Noir one. I'm actually thinking of decluttering this one just because I'm looking at it and I don't find that it's like, I have other palettes that resemble it. If you guys are interested in this, I should have it up on my offer up by the time I put up this video, but for now I'm just going to declutter it because I just find that I have more palettes that look like it and I like more. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure to leave me a like, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and turn on your post notifications so you guys don't miss out on part 4 that should be coming really soon. But yeah, for now, that is it for this video, and thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you discovered something new or added something to your list, or let me know what you already have in your collection that resembles mine. So yeah, I will see you guys all in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.